understanding, and their lovers and evil. They are languages and letters, they are poetry and all. They are love and understanding, and their lovers and evil. There are canyons, they are yawning in the night. They are rank and bitter anger, they are all devoid of life. They are fear and blind suspicion, they are apathy and pride. They are dark and sober, they're also very wide. They are fear and blind suspicion, they are apathy and pride. They are dark and soul foreboding, and they're also very wise. Let us build a bridge of you, let us cross the Hudson. Let us span another canyon, let us right another wrong. Oh, and if someone should ask us where we're up and bound today, we will tell them building bridges, we are down our way. Oh, and if someone should ask us where we're up and bound today, we'll tell them building bridges and be off and on our way. We will tell them building bridges and be off and on our way.
Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Bridges Programming. You just heard Bill Staines, and we're here on the Mohawk River, and I'm with you. This is Susan Comod. It'll be coming up in a second. We're pushing some buttons here.
You're not me.
No, I mean
you're Jeff Beller.
I'm Jeff Beller. I'm Jeff Beller, and there's Susan Comod, and we're sitting here on a little houseboat in the middle of the Mohawk, and we're going to
the mighty Mohawk.
The mighty Mohawk, and this is and you were looking at a view of the Mohawk live. We are now trying to
and most of the time you won't have to look at us. You'll be able to look at the water.
At the water
while we're talking and playing you some more music. Tonight we're actually highlighting an artist who's no longer living, but
we're going to try to resurrect. We're going to try to resurrect an activist and someone who talked about what's going wrong with the world.
Let's see if I can get this to come up.
And that's Utah Phillips right there.
There's
a picture of Utah Phillips.
Kind of an interesting grizzly-looking guy in that picture. Utah Phillips. I wonder what his first name really was. Maybe Ulysses.
Probably.
That'd be cool.
But he comes from Utah.
Utah Phillips. And the name of this CD is I Gotta Know. But I think he had quite a few other ones. But there he is. There's his face.
And you can get his stuff. I don't know if, but we're going to be.
But he was a veteran of the Korean War, and he wrote many poems and songs about his experiences and how he adjusted to coming back to life in the United States again.
Yeah, he was really traumatized by the Korean War because he killed people. He knew killing people was wrong. And he started, when he got back, he drank a lot and he became a hobo. And
actually, he said for almost 15 years.
15 years, and he just couldn't get. He was definitely screwed over by killing people. And I'm suggesting that that's the way things are.
Trying to reconcile all the things that have happened to him. And so a lot of this music that we're going to try to play 3 tracks. Probably.
Yeah, we're gonna try this out.
And we'll comment between the tracks and hope to encourage you to find more of his work.
His work, by the way, is his work is his music brings tears to my eyes, especially when you realize what's going on in the world today. I tell people I get up in the morning and I'm getting older, and I look in the mirror and I realize I'm going to kill one people today just because I'm part of this economic system. and we shouldn't be doing that. And Utah Phillips has some great music to discuss that. And just shame that we don't have more people who can try to bring back this great music and this great thinking process that's happening now.
Well, that should be happening.
That should be happening now. So,
but I wrote a little summary just to bring us into the first track that you want to play.
okay, go ahead and do that, and then I'm gonna try to do this right. But I'm gonna just see if
we'll do the best we can, because this is we're not nobody's paying us. Where are actually, here's how it began. Where are the people with good intention? Where are the people willing to speak out against war and the violence that is being committed against humanity and life on Earth? Utah Phillips was one individual who spoke out clearly and with experience and wisdom. Tonight, we will listen to him and maybe find the courage to speak ourselves. We seem to be at this time in a dark ages for good intentions. Fear, paranoia, and lies are being heard and shared. Where are the people speaking to us about what can make our shared and fleeting existence better?
Well, anyway, I'm gonna give you a little bit. Susan will be talking to you a little bit, and
you're gonna play a track.
And I'm gonna play a track. But meanwhile, while I go play that track, I'm going to show you the Mohawk River. And since Utah Phillips solar energy is a great piece of energy that works, once we built it, it's gifts of nature, and we'll never have to pay a company again for our supply of fuel. And if we can get it so we do it locally, it's even better. And if we can, I will go on to detail, but this boat.
I think there was some solar when Utah Phillips was alive.
but we talked about that, and we talked about energy issues. So we're going to give you a little shot of what the Mohawk looked like, and we're going to play some Utah Phillips. So
this is looking out the stern of our boat, which is the part where the engine pushes the boat.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the multinational corporations and to the profit for which they stand. One interlocking directorate under no government, indivisible, with monopoly and cheap labor for all. Why do your warships sail on my waters? Why do your death bombs fall from my sky? Why do you burn my farm and my town down? I've got to know, friend, I've got to know why. What makes your ships haul death to my people? Nitro blockbusters, big cannons and guns. Why can't your ship bring food and some clothing? I've got to know, yes, I've got to know why. I've got to know, yes, I've got to know, friend. Hungry lips ask me wherever I go. Comrades and friends all falling around me. I've got to know, yes, I've got to know. What good work did you do? I'd like to ask you to give you my money right out of my hand. I built your big house to hide from my people. Why do you hide so? I've got to know. Why can't we spend more to build homeless shelters? Why are the homeless here anyhow? Fortunes are building on greed and on killing. I've got to know, yes, I've got to know now. I've got to know, yes, I've got to know, friend. Hungry lips ask me wherever I go. Comrades and friends all falling around me. I've got to know, yes, I've got to know. You keep me in jail, you lock me in prison. Your hospital's jammed in your crazy house full. What made your top hurt, my unarmed peace worker? I've got to know, yes, I've got to know why. My friends are dying from AIDS and from cancer. The big money goes where your death missiles fly. Built by good workers, paid by more taxes. I've got to know, yes, I've got to know why. I've got to know, yes, I've got to know, friend. Hungry lips ask me wherever I go. Comrades and friends all falling around me. I've got to know, yes, I've got to know.
Okay, I'm gonna come back. We want to discuss that song. The reason why we're doing these programs. This is brought to you by the way, this is Bridges Programming, and you're listening to us on Friday night. And Friday night we do a show from 7 to 8 o'clock, and we try to highlight people like Utah Phillips or Buckminster Fuller.
Or Pope Francis.
Or Pope Francis in this case, even though this is not a religious show.
We go everywhere for inspiration.
It's a humanitarian program. And we try to, on this humanitarian program, say, there's something wrong.
Well, all those questions that Utah Phillips was asking in that song, I mean, those are questions that should be resonating now, and people should be asking now, why are these things still happening? And he says, I gotta know, I gotta know. He was asking those questions.
But but the thing is, I do know, and I know the reason why we're doing this is because it's about not greed so much, but greed's an emotion, but it's about money. It's about how much money can we make, and the whole world is so devoted to money that they send people out to get natural resources and kill people, and
if they have the power to do it.
If they have the power to do it, and they send us out, they send your children out, and they draft you, and you have to dodge the draft if you don't want to kill anybody, and then they have names of freedom and justice and
saving democracy.
And democracy is another code word, but basically
fight the terrorists.
Fight the terrorism. And let me ask you a question: that if somebody was dropping drones on us, and a piece of plate glass fell out of a third-story window and cut your child's face in half, and you would be pretty mad at us, especially if they wanted to take our stuff, our natural resources, and you would call them heathens, or you'd call them, in this case, that they call us, what do they call us? Infidels. And that's what's happening. We are going there, and we're using the name of democracy and righteous and nonsense crapola. But Utah Phillips was saying in that song that he's got to know. And we know, we're pretty sure we got it figured out. It's in the name of money. It's in the name of power and control, using money to do it. And we're trying to take their natural resources. This show is brought to you by the Human Renewable Energy Measure, which we don't charge. It's not a thing you buy. It's a concept that we think that all humanity has to have their basic needs met via physics. They live 80 years of age. You have about 2 million calories of food and water.
You're saying the physics of life.
Physics of life.
Right.
And once we accept that measurement, like any other measurement that we've gained over the past several thousand years, like gravity, the world's flat, something physics, the zero concept of a measure from nothing, zero to whatever.
All useful.
All measurements.
Yeah.
And we're saying that the reason why we have these wars and the reason why the economic system is so really, really screwed up is because of money. And that's what's controlling our political system. Doesn't matter whether it's Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, it doesn't matter. All of the people in their own way want it. They think they've got the answer. And I'm suggesting that we need a humanitarian answer. Something that says all human beings must have their basic needs met there's no cost for it. If you wanted to have a war, it's a lot cheaper to give everybody in the world their basic needs met, not their wants, their needs.
Then to build up with, what the expense would be to build up to a war.
Or killing one another. It's something wrong. And we think that the HRM does it, but Utah Phillips says, I want to know, man. I got to know. And
why are all these things happening? Why are all these atrocities happening?
And he does one other song we're going to bring up in a few minutes. But it's so important to understand that we need to resurrect these people who spent their life trying to get a humanitarian world together. Utah Phillips was one. Bucky Fuller, or Buckminster Fuller, or Bucky as he liked to be called, had the answers. Bucky, no, but they've sort of wiped him out. You can't even get his books. They're no longer in print. We're having a hell of a time getting a book now.
Well, you can still get them on Amazon.
You can get them on Amazon, used books. Right. But Bucky Fuller wrote the...
well, Critical Path is out of print. But I don't know. I haven't checked to see if the manual for Spaceship or that may still be.
And Utah Phillips, I mean, who we're highlighting tonight, we'd like to resurrect his stuff. Well, a lot of the folk singers, there were some great folk singers out there who really questioned the theory of war and the theory of what are we doing? Why are we doing these things? What's the purpose of all this crap? Why are we killing people? It's all about the economic system, and whoever you put in the office, they're controlled by the economic system, and actually, I'm shocked that the Pope, what's his name, Pope Francis, wrote an encyclical about 100 pages, and we have that.
And he's bringing out all these
things about the economic system is killing people around the world.
Yes,
and this is amazing to hear a Pope say this. And he's saying the same things Utah Phillips was saying 50 years ago, or the same thing Bucky was talking about 50 years ago, and the same thing that what's his name, Moore, or Sir, what's his name, Thomas More was talking about utopia. That we got to stop this insanity by killing people for stealing. I mean, these are all things, and this goes back thousands of years. So it's just so important to see what's going on. I'm going to do another little song with Utah Phillips, and it'll be the next track on this.
Well, try, it's called The Violence Within. I think that might be the track you want, track 21.
No, I want to do track 2, which is...
Well, you just did that. I've got to know.
That's not track 2, is it?
Yeah, we just heard it. It was first, it went, the first one went right into
Okay, so we're going to try to do...
21.
Track 21. So I'm going to give you a little shot of the Mohawk before the sun goes down, and then I'm going to try to get you some.
On its way down.
It's on its way down. So I'm going to be watching the sun go down. I'm going to give you a little shot of that.
More interesting than watching us here.
And that's about it. And we're going to try to get track 21.
Yep, 21. I think that's the one.
Okay, I'm going to try to.
And if you miss and go to track 20, you could try track 20. I Will Not Obey is a good one also. You can start with that, and it'll go right into the next one.
In 1920, a number of
8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
There's something in your face, Michael.
13, 14.
Hello, young Jones, with your
15.
Lord, it's sad, oh Lord, ain't it sad.
You just on 15.
Thinking about all the good friends.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Try 20.
I was working at the Joe Hill House with the same Ammon Hennessy I've been talking about. One Hiroshima memorial, it was in the mid-60s. Some of the local people decided to put in a peace garden. And everybody was asked to come in the morning and bring a plant to plant there. Well, Ammon showed up. He was a real magnet for cameras and reporters. He was carrying a cactus. One of the reporters said, "Mr. Hennessy, what have you there?" And Ammon said, "Well, it's a Harry Truman cactus." "And what is that?" The reporter said, "Well, look, it's got little pricks all over it." Now Ammon said to me, "You make up songs around the Joe Hill house about cowboys and about trains. I want you to make up something that makes sense. You go out and walk around the block, and when you get back to the memorial, you're young." Well, I wandered off, consternated, wondered what I was going to do. I thought back to when I was a boy in Dayton, Ohio, there by Wright-Patterson Army Air Corps Base, where my stepfather was stationed. The airplanes used to take off low, and they'd fly over our playground. And we'd look up and drop our ball and drop our bat and wave at them. And if the pilot was looking down, he'd dip a wing to you. Made you feel like King Tut to have a whole airplane dip its wing to you. Well, years later, in 47, we moved out to Salt Lake. And that's where I heard about the Enola Gay that was stationed out at Wendover, Utah. And it used to do its dummy bomb runs over Salt Lake City. It was flown by Colonel Claude Tibbets, who had named the airplane for his mother. But I wondered if the kids in Salt Lake, the same time I was down there in Dayton, when they saw the Enola Gay fly over, if they would jump up and down and wave their hand. And if that plane would dip its wing. Of course, the Enola Gay took off for Tinian Island of the Marianas, and then that awful day it bombed Hiroshima with the first atomic bomb. And let's all remember this. Let's all remember this. And overseas right now, there are 1,000 nuclear weapons pointed right at Iraq, and there's only one country on earth that has ever proven everlastingly that it's willing to use one. So who's afraid of who?
Mm-hmm. Well said.
There shall come soft rains, and the smell of ground, and swallows circling with their shimmering sound. Frogs will sing in the pools at night, and wild plum trees in tremulous white. Robins will wear their feathery fire, whistling their whims on a low fence wire. And not one will know of the war, not one will care at last when it is done. Not one would mind neither earth nor tree if mankind perished utterly. And spring herself, when she awoke at dawn, would scarcely know that we were gone.
Amazing. Think about that.
Look out from your schoolroom window. Look up, young children, from your play. Don't wave your hand at the shining airplane. Such a beautiful sight is the Enola Gay. It's many miles from the Utah desert to Tinian Island far away. A standing guard by the barbed wire fences that hide the secret of Enola Gay. High above the clouds, in the sunlit silence, so peaceful here, I'd like to stay. There's many a pilot who would swap his pension for a chance to fly Enola Gay. What is that sound high above my city? I rush outside and search the sky. Now we are running to find the shelters. The air raid sirens start to cry. What will I say when the children ask me, where was I flying upon that day? With trembling voice, I gave the order to the bombardier of Enola Gay. Look out from your schoolroom window. Look up, young children, from your play. Your bright young eyes will turn to ashes in the blinding light of Enola Gay. I turn to see the fireball rising. My God, all I can say, I hear a voice within me crying, My mother's name was Nola Gay. Look out from your schoolroom window. Look up, young children, from your play. Oh, when you see the warplanes flying, each one is named Enola Gay.
And that was very. This is, I hate to
I
say,
spent a lot of time.
the anniversary of this bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki was last week.
That's right.
A couple
And
of
we
days
have
ago,
a good
And,
friend of ours, by the way, who went there
just before
just before he's when I
the anniversary.
again.
but
He's
not-
another person who spent his whole life. His name is Lou Ismay, and he's probably close to 90, and he went there just before the anniversary, and he went there to just pay homage to the damage and the killing that went on in that part of the world by us for whatever reason, and it's just amazing to see that we
are the country that dropped atomic bombs.
Yeah,
This
we
is
kill-
very
we-
important to
we-
keep that in mind
we kill people.
when we're saying, oh, these countries, all these countries
Those
are,
people over
are,
there
are going to are threatening us. Well, we're the ones that have already committed this kind of atrocity.
the atrocities we commit, of course, create another problem, because then people feel that we're the problem, and we, not you and I, or not the individuals, even though we're part of it. If we condone, like I think this is a great country. I just can't stand my government, and I think that Utah Phillips did a whole thing about that.
Making that differentiation.
Yeah,
you can love your country, but you only love your government when it's doing something that's good.
And it's not,
and
as far as I
when
see.
it's not doing something good, then you need to make it clear that. And as he says, "I will not obey" is one of his.
We're going to put that on. I hope I can find it. It's very hard for me to work
one of the titles of his song.
But we'd love to get more people to do programming and maybe do this kind of work. But
this speaking out is very important.
The point I'm trying to make is that we have to keep on bringing out. We all know the problems, but no one's coming out with solutions. We feel if we bring out the problems loud enough and strong enough, maybe we can elect somebody who won't do this stuff no more. But what's creating this stuff is the economic world. And unless we go after the problem of economics, which started back in they call it civilization, I call it anti-civilization. We stopped being civilized once we had too much stuff, and we hoarded it, and we killed for it, and we're still doing it today. I don't know if I found the right track yet.
Well, maybe I can help you when you start playing it. I can let you know if
Okay.
it sounds right.
Okay, I'm going to go.
It's very hard with Utah Phillips to find tracks on his, because he does recitation. He'll read a poem and then he'll go into a song. And when they number it on the back of his CD here, things blend into other things. So it's we're going to do the best we can to find the ones that we're looking for here.
But by the way, and I want to bring.
But anything that you play on here is
I
worth
really
hearing.
want to bring this out, that we feel as though that we need a basic measurement that all humanity must have their basic needs, not their wants, their basic needs met, no matter where they are around the world. And then that will help bring about peace. There's always going to be people who are going to want more. And there are always going to be people who are going to follow those people. But no human being should ever have to beg for food or water or shelter and have all their education. They should never have to work more than an hour a day for their basic needs. Then you let your free market take effect, whatever that would mean.
A human birthright.
A human birthright. And that's, and Utah Phillips is, I mean, he's bringing out the part that that we can't stand. We all know we're doing damage, and we call it collateral damage, and we call it all kinds of words they've tried to soften it up with. And the reality is we're killing people, and we're killing people over money. And we think, and we get into this frenzy of electoral frenzy. And we still think that if we vote the right person in, it's going to change things. But my God, man, we keep on playing the same game. and we're pushing the same buttons. It's a form of insanity. It's been going on not just in this country for 200 or 300 years. It's been going on around the world for 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 years since civilization began. And uncivilization or anti-civilization. We'll be right back, and I'll give you some more of the Mohawk before it gets too dark. And
actually, you can see another boat
and
that's anchored near us.
Another wealthy person with a boat in the background. Probably who doesn't really give a damn about what's going on in any part of the world.
Yeah, it would be on the other.
Well, we'll swing over. It's there, but we're in the wrong
pointing
spot.
a little different direction right now.
I'm going to try to see if I can get some more Utah Phillips here.
I think that the one you
these
want
days going
is
to
about
demonstrations and vigils, talking to people who support the war.
5 tracks back.
They can be pretty threatening, but I always find there are people there, and I don't mean policemen, but there are people there who will protect you.
Jeff?
I don't go there to shout or to lecture.
Did you go back?
The new ruling party is holding the aces. The rest of the cards are all missing faces. I'm sorry I can't know you today. What can one say?
That's it. That's what
I will not obey.
I will not obey, right.
Give us your sons and give us your daughters. No one is safe or immune from the slaughter. How indifference makes them rage. What can one say? I will not obey. National Guard or freedom fighters, all houses belong to cigarette lighters. But who hides in the smoke? What can one say? I will not obey. Better perhaps to perish outside of the bunkers where our generals hide. I turn away and spit. What can one say? I will not obey. Give us the minds of your children to learn the substance of books we have not yet burned. But can they read the sky for rain? What can one say? I will not obey. Soon all tyrants will feel our impatience. We choose to create our own combinations. I was always willing to agree. What can one say? I will not obey. The essence of contract is agreement, not coercion or obedience. And agreement is sacred. What can one say? I will not obey. There are so few wars of people's liberation. The people have so seldom risen. Only the armed faction. Listen, the armed faction lies. They recreate the state through their action. When the people rise, it is not they, but the state which dies. I sing this song for the prisoners' release, most of all now for the new state police. You see, the guns have changed hands again. What can one say? I will not obey.
Okay, that's
And I would like to go on to the next song too. If you held it at that one. So
yeah,
I
I can go to the next one, but
you want to comment on that?
I want to comment on this for several reasons. First of all, we have a legal reason for this, because if we comment on programming if we comment on the songs, it's public domain. And I also want to comment on the songs because we are having a problem now with, if you don't fly a red yellow ribbon and praise what's going on or get part of the system, they don't even, people may have even forgotten the symbol, the yellow ribbon by now. That was a couple of years back, maybe 10. Yeah, maybe. And, I'm sure that so people the 25-year-olds don't even make that tie a yellow ribbon. Yeah, but it was a sentimental thing of hoping that troops would come home and not be and by the way, maimed. The same troops that are fighting for you and I, our American troops going overseas are told to kill people, and then the other troops, they're told to kill us, and it's all about natural resources. And and Utah Phillips brings this out, and I don't know if it's the last track, but he says simply that if we were told to drop a bomb on those people next door to us because they're evil, and when they come out, start shooting them, we would really be in serious deep crap. But if you do the same thing overseas and you drop a bomb and people come out from that building with burning and you start shooting them, you can get an award. You get a medal of honor. You may become a senator because you just killed a lot of people. And most of the cases, though, they're not bad people. It's a shame that we allow this kind of behavior to go on and on and on. It's been going on since well before the United States, but that doesn't make it right. It's been going on the minute we got into anti-civilization, or people call it civilization. Uncivilization. And it's not funny. It's just that, and most people can't see this. They refuse to see it. They don't want to face the fact that they are part of the problem, including myself. But we're trying everything we can to do to say no human being should ever have to work more than an hour a day with today's technology and today's natural resources. And you should always be able to have your basic needs met. If you want more, your wants are subjective. You can work as hard as you want, but never, ever kill another human being for the natural resources to make yourself richer.
I think if I got it right, I wrote it down when I heard it. I may have not written it down exactly right, but in that song we just heard, there was a statement: agreement is sacred.
Right. And
I think that is what we're working around too, with the concept of the HREM, the human renewable energy.
An agreement throughout society that
and we've had other agreements in the past that we've brought, to the present, and we still use, like you say, we agree that there's ways of measuring gravity and various aspects of gravity, and this has been very useful. We can calculate distances and velocity and weight and various useful things like that. Well, there's there's an agreement that we haven't actually.
We need to move to the next agreement.
Right.
All humanity
there's another agreement
will have their basic
necessary.
Needs met.
Right.
We are so stupid as a species that we can't conceive of this.
There's a missing
but
agreement.
There's another agreement that we have to come to, that all humanity must have their basic needs met. We judge the country on how well the needs are met in each country, not GDP, how much money we can make, or how the stock market does. How well we treat humanity.
We don't need more laws that reinforce the flaws of our present economic system.
Man's law has flaws. Nature's law is what we need to look at.
Well, it's what we have to deal with.
We have to deal with it. If we don't, we're going to die. Nature is a benevolent dictator. I'm going to put on the next piece, so I'm going to give you another shot before the of the Mohawk. Before the sun sets totally, and we're going to have to stop doing our Friday night programs on Friday because it's getting too dark. So we're gonna go back to Utah, and this is one of more of his songs.
I spend a lot of time these days going to demonstrations and vigils, talking to people who support the war. They can be pretty threatening. But I always find there are people there, and I don't mean policemen, but there are people there who will protect you. I don't go there to shout or to lecture, but to ask questions, real questions, questions I really need answers to. When I joined the Army, it was kind of like somebody that I've been brought up to respect, wearing a suit and a tie, maybe a little older, in my neighborhood. Think about yourself in your neighborhood and this happening to you. He walked up to me, put his arm around my shoulder and said, "See that fellow on the corner there? He's really evil and has got to be killed. Now, you trust me, you'll go do it for me, won't you? The reasons are a little complicated, but I won't bother to explain, but you go and do it for me, will you?" Well, if somebody did that to you in your neighborhood, you'd think it was foolish. You wouldn't do it. Well, what makes it more reasonable to do it on the other side of the world? That's one question. Well, now hook it into this. If I was to go down into the middle of your town and bomb a house and then shoot the people coming out in flames, the newspapers would say, "Homicidal maniac, The cops would come and they drag me away. They say, you're responsible for that. The judge would say, you're responsible for that. The jury would say, you're responsible for that. And they would give me the hot squad, or they'd put me away for years and years and years, you see? But now exactly the same behavior, sanctioned by the state, could get me a medal and elected to Congress. Exactly the same behavior. I want the people I'm talking to reconcile that contradiction for themselves and for me. The third question, well, I take that one a lot to peace people. There's a lot of moral ambiguity going on around here. Peace people who say, well, we got to support the troops. They wear the yellow ribbon and wrap themselves in the flag. Say, we don't want what happened to the Vietnam vets to happen to these vets when they come home, people getting spit on. Well, I think it's terrible to spit on anybody. I think that's a consummate act of violence. And it's a terrible mistake, and I'm really sorry that happened. But what did happen? Song Mai happened. My Lai happened. The defoliation of a country happened. Tons of pesticides happened. 30,000 MIAs in Vietnam happened. And it unhinged some people, made them real mad. And what really, really made them mad was the denial of personal responsibility. Saying, I was made to do it, I was told to do it, I was doing my duty, I was serving my country. Well, we've already talked about that. Now, it is morally ambiguous to wrap yourself in the flag and wear those ribbons. And it borders on moral cowardice. I don't mean to sound stern. Well, yes, I do. But what does the Nuremberg Declaration say? There's no superior order that can cancel your conscience. Nations will be judged by the standard of the individual. Look, the president makes choices. The Congress makes choices. The chief of staff makes choices. The officers make choices. All those choices percolate down to the individual trooper with his finger on the trigger, the individual pilot with his thumb on the button that drops the bomb. If that trigger doesn't get pulled, if that button doesn't get pushed, all those other choices vanish as though they never were. They're meaningless. So what is the critical choice? What is the one that we've got to think about and get to? And friends, if that trigger gets pulled, if that button gets pushed and that drop bomb falls, and you say, I support the troops, you're an accomplice. I don't want to be accomplice. Do you? And I don't want to dehumanize anyone. I don't want to take away anybody's humanity. Humans are able to make moral decisions, moral, ethical decisions. When we tell the trooper who pulls the trigger, or the soldier who turns the wheel that releases oil into the Persian Gulf, that they're not responsible, just following orders, just doing their duty, have no choice, bypassing them, making them a part of the machine, we deny them their humanity, their responsibility for their actions and the consequences of those actions. Look, I've been a soldier. I don't want any moral loophole. I need to take personal responsibility for my actions. And if we don't learn how to do this, we're going to keep on going to war again and again and again. Well, a final question. When I'm at these war support demonstrations, the question I ask most is, you think that people on the other side of the world need to be killed on the strength of voices coming out of a box? Sounds pretty silly when you put it that way, doesn't it? I want to know from the person standing in front of me, what part of you is responding to those voices? Can you tell me? What makes you feel that way? Who in you are those voices talking to? Who's really answering? And why? I hear those voices. I have those feelings. The violence is in me too. Down inside the packing houses, there they use a Judas ram, leads the sheep into the slaughter, and goes free to lead again. We are only sheep who follow. We are nothing more than slaves, while the leaders make decisions that will lead us to our graves. You can say I am mistaken. You can tell me I am blind. I don't want your war and killing. I will never change my mind. I can't let your television take away my sight. I can't let your yellow ribbon strangle what is right. Don't sell your labor to the death mills that these warlords profit from. Don't bear arms against each other. Save us from the Judas ram.
Wow.
Okay, that's.
I'd never heard that before about that they use a special sheep, a Judas ram, to lead the rest of the flock into the slaughterhouse. I didn't know. That's the first time I'd heard. That must be the case.
Yep,
That's a technique for getting a flock of sheep to
it,
go into a slaughterhouse.
to me, this is a really frightening thing, and it's amazing if you can step back and look in the mirror and say, listen, we are really doing something very, very bad, and I don't think
that's good.
No, I don't. Well, anyway,
The light is too bright.
the problem I'm finding is that we have to face up to the fact that we are killing people every day, and it's not political. It's political people being controlled by the economy, and then we have to ask ourselves what's wrong with the economy. We all have our own stupid opinions on what we should have and should not have, but we can actually go to an objective opinion to what we need. We need in our 80 years of life our food, which is 1,000,000 calories, our food, which is 1,000,000, water, which is 1,000,000 calories, shelter, which has a number, an energy number, and education. And once we have our basic needs met, most of these wars, after we get the hatred over for killing our children and our parents and our friends, this probably will stop. It would take several generations.
A lot of these symptoms will go away.
But we must get to an economic system that is based on humanity and physics that can't be manipulated. And we need to come to an agreement, a cooperation, not competition. And that's basically what Utah Phillips said in the last thing. He said we need to come to an agreement.
Well, and also he was suggesting very strongly that a nation, I'm just going to paraphrase, needs to be judged by the integrity of the individual decisions. And he quotes the Nuremberg trial, a statement from the Nuremberg trials: no superior order can cancel your conscience. That's an extremely difficult decision for people to come to when there's so much social pressure that's coming, that we're asserting, coming mostly from the economics and the desire of certain people in power to parlay wars into profit, and the use of war is a profit gathering tool, but when these pressures are brought to bear on a generation that doesn't quite have its intellect together, usually they try to convince youngsters who are still, not even quite graduated from high school, that they should join the service, and they're not even able to quite understand the implications of what's being requested, and it's couched in all kinds of terms of you'll get education.
So is all the wars.
So
is all the,
you're going to do
wars.
something.
They talk about collateral damage.
Right, patriotic.
When you talk about the stock market, it's got like it's real. The stock market's upset today. The markets are upset. They don't get the markets upset.
So how are you relating that to
all these are lies.
individual
They're
responsibility?
out and out lies. And the other day we pulled out of a parking lot, and this truck pulled in front of me, and the truck was selling cakes. And the cakes on the back of the truck, it said, "This is the best tasting cakes in the world." Now, first of all, that's a subjective statement. Secondly, we're being lied to every single time we open our eyes. The advertising, the propaganda.
So a youngster who's about 18 has been bombarded all their life
With propaganda.
with lies and propaganda.
Go to school, get an education.
Right.
What do you need the education for? Well, not to be smarter, to get a good job, to make more money, to work within the economic system. It's get a degree, whether you're smart in that topic or not. Get the degree in it. How many doctors do you know who are just really bad doctors? They have degrees. Very few of them are really good doctors and good human beings. They're all out to make money. I mean, this system is so corrupt. It is so just bad. It's not the individual's fault directly. They're schooled that way because of our economic system. The politicians have to raise X amount of dollars to run for office because the media controls the brain of the person, the advertising. It's all interconnected. And it's not just in this country, it's worldwide. And it's not just the last 100 or 2 or 3 or 400 years. It's 4,000 or 5,000 years since the beginning of the civilization, or as we call it now, the anti-civilization. Human beings did get along in most cases in cooperation before we had excess. Once we had excess, we decided to protect it and make kings. Or we had people who used Bucky calls them pirates, because they were able to conquer different groups because of ships. So they were the 1%ers that we call today.
He had the advantage of being able to navigate the oceans.
And once you have that
and bring back all the goods.
And once you have that advantage,
right.
I'm going to try to play another.
Do you know which one you want to do?
I can try it. I got to put some lights on here, though, my friend. Okay, and we're going to just try a different.
Do you want to see if there's anything to see outside?
I'm going to see if we can.
Yeah, that's not bad. There's still light.
This is definitely getting dark. It'll be our last show on Friday night on the mobile.
Well, we'll have to do it a little earlier, or we won't do it at night here.
We'll do it.
But let's try to do this one, track number 31.
Okay, what's the name of that?
How to Live in Peace. And the one we did, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 more, 9 forward might do it.
Track number 31. Let me try that.
There shall come.
Okay.
Fellow came
31.
Came from New York City to work with Eamon Hennessy at the Joe Hill House. His name was Murphy Dowie. Murph, or the Cajun, we called him. He was from Pointe aux Chiens, the dogleg in Louisiana. A young pacifist, Catholic anarchist like Eamon was. Well, he worked at the Joe Hill House around 1964, made up a lot of good songs. Then he was picked up by the feds and thrown into Seagoville Federal Penitentiary as a CO. I lost track of him.
Conscientious.
I sure wish I knew where he was, but this is one of his songs. It rolls on and on, this mighty river, rolling onward to the sea, then up into the sky in vapor, and down in rain on you and me. I see a face in this here river, a smiling up for all to see. It's not my face I see reflected, it's all of you and me. It rolls on and on, this mighty river, are rolling onward to the sea, then up into the sky in vapor, and down in rain on you and me. I hear a voice in this here river, calling out both loud and clear. And the voice I hear in this here river, it's the voice of my people far and near. It rolls on and on this mighty river, rolling onward to the sea, then up into the sky in vapor, and down in rain on you and me. Well, love is just like a mighty river, flowing onward on its way. Don't try to dam its course around us, but ride upon its waves each day. It rolls on and on this mighty river, rolling onward to the sea, then up into the sky in vapor, and down in rain on you and me.
Try one track back,
Okay, one track back.
and that'll be our last song.
Fella came from New York City. It's Saudi duty time. Stop that. Hey, want something positive you can do in your own life to work for peace? Take a little time out. Search around in your body, in your muscles, in your flesh for all of the sore points, all the small pains, all of the tie-ups. Wad them up together. Shop around in your spirit, shop around in your heart for all of your fears, your anxieties, your rages. Reach into your mind and take out all of those ugly, deformed images that are poured in day and night. And all of those exploitive sexual images that are used to sell products. Wad all of that up into one tight ball down in your middle, and in one final act of violence, pick up your television set and throw it out the front window. Then you can learn to live in peace.
That's the beginning.
Fellow came from New York
we
City.
heard this one.
Worked with him and Hennessy.
That was an interesting.
Dowie,
That's
Murph,
sort of,
Cajun.
we need to go to 5, I think, soon for the other one, right? That's I think that's the right one. Let me see.
Are you going to play? I think we have a few minutes. You could play one more.
Okay. I'm gonna. We only have a few minutes. I just go back to the inside the boat again. Then we'll go back out with the next song. But I want to thank you all for listening. This has been Bridges Programming, and we were listening to Utah Phillips and commenting on his songs. And
we recommend that you find them wherever you can.
And
I'm sure there's a lot of his work.
And you can bring to us other stuff you want to bring. Then we'll play it. We want to get. We know there's problems with humanity, and we're trying to find out the answers. And we think that the HRM is a good way to begin with to do that. We're going to be doing. We do about 3 shows a week, and we have one coming up on Sunday on the front stoop, the longest front stoop in the world. That's with Dennis Carias and Susan and I. And then we do one on Wednesday, and then we have Paul Marco doing a program out of Ecuador, and some other people doing some programming. Bonfire does a show with us once in a while, and we have some other people doing some programming. But we all try to get a humanitarian. We're trying to start a humanitarian station that we talk about the problems and we try to find solutions. But the biggest solution of all is make sure all humanity has their basic needs met, and that'll pretty much stop most of the wars. And I think that's the way to go. Okay, we're going to give you the sun going down with Bill Staines saying All God's Creatures, and we'll be right back. Or we won't be back. We're going to go out with that. We normally go out with the Energy song, but right now we're going to be going out with All God's Creatures, and that's Bill Staines.
And you can see now another boat in the background, and then a little fishing boat to the right. And a spider.
All got God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they've got. Now listen to the bass, it's the one on the bottom where the bullfrog croaks and the hippopotamus moans and groans with the big to do. The old cow just goes moo. The dogs and the cats, well, they take out the middle. The honeybee hums and the cricket fiddles. The donkey brays and the pony neighs and the old coyote howls. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some
Thank
sing
you all
high,
for listening. I'll be back again.
Nice.
Some just clap their hands, applause, or anything they got.